Welcome back to the Straw Hat Duo. My name's Charlie, and today we are going over chapter 1055 of One Piece, titled New Age. So, before we get into the chapter, the cover page spread is kind of a promotion for One Piece Film Red, which will be coming out, I believe, the 8th of August? I believe that's when it's coming out. Not 100% sure on that. Also, a little side note, if you're into Black Clover, it also came back from its 3-month hiatus this week. Second little page is kind of a poster for Film Red. It's got Shanks, Luffy, and Unta. And yes, 6th is when it comes out. The cover page story, so to say, right now is kind of about Unta. It says it's going to be 3 issues in a row. Who knows? We'll see. And we see Unta laying there with a transponder snail yelling out like, "Unta, we need help. Pirates have stormed the town. They got my dad. Unta, save us. The houses are burning." And they're kind of like chanting for her, and then she jumps up with music notes around her. Says, "I need a pen. I need a pen. It's not here." Finally gets a pen, then just starts writing a bunch of music notes, and it seems to be titled New Age, the name of said chapter. And she's got like scuff marks on her face and her hands, and she looks like she's sweating. She's like, "It's done. My magnum opus." And that's pretty much it. It says on the side, Oda drew this showing the moment Unta penned her New Age theme. I imagine it could be either an opening song in the movie or the ending song that the credits start rolling on. Who knows? I won't know for quite a while. So, now we get into the chapter, finally, a couple minutes in. And it starts right out. You see a zoomed out view of the capital. Everybody's having fun. Nami and Otama, I believe it's Otama, and Zeus are all kind of laughing, playing. They're having a good time. Then we see Momo yelling at Yamato to stop. And she's like, "Why won't you let me fight?" Momo gets punched in the face. It's like, "You can't fight," as he gets wrapped up and, thrown to the ground. Raizo uses his Nimpo Scroll jutsu for a fire release and, shoots like a fireball at Green Bull, Aramaki. He acts like it hurts him and kind of goes, "Yeah, just kidding." And uses, I believe this is a move. He uses Fireproof Forest. He says, "You're up against a Navy Admiral. You think I wouldn't be able to guard against such an obvious weakness?" Then we see a close-up of Aramaki's tree face as he shoots one of his roots out and stabs Raizo right in the gut, shooting him backwards, and then starts to suck his nutrients out. The other scabbards try and help him. Kawamatsu, pretty much all of them start trying to cut the roots out. Neko's like, "Is weed whacking really all we can do?" And Denjiro, Kawamatsu, and Neko all get grabbed, and at that point, we cut away to the castle basement. There's gonna be a lot of jumps in this chapter. It is very, very sporadic. I was trying to think of a way to kind of break it up. Actually, yeah, let's come back to the basement, because that's actually an important part. That'll be a pretty cool area to kind of leave off. We'll cut back to the fight. We see Aramaki kind of going on his evil monologue still. I'm sure living under his regime was miserable, but the order he imposed was the deterrent that kept other predators from targeting your country. Just bring me Straw Hat Luffy already. I'll leave you be after I take his head. And Yamato's like, "Let's call Luffy in the gang and show this guy who's boss." Momo's like, "No, that's unacceptable. The same goes for you. Do not touch him. After all that time chained up on Onigashima, you finally have a chance to be free. I don't want to taint your send-off. Until now, I have continued to rely on Luffy, Zoro, and the others. But it's imperative to prove that those of us who are staying here can repel any enemy on our own. If we still have to depend on anybody else, how can we look anybody in the eyes and say that Wano will be safe with us?" At this point, Momo's just kind of like, she's kind of shocked, and Momo just kind of yells, "Now be gone, you demon tree! Get out of here!" And it looks like he's trying to do Boro breaths, but it's just clouds coming out at this point. Aramaki's like, "So you're just a spoiled kid. I guess even dragons can be pathetic." And then Momo's like, "I said leave," and actually shoots a true Boro breath, which shocks Aramaki. Like, it catches him completely off guard. So it looks like it blows like a quarter or a third of his tree body off, and that actually hurts him. And Momo's like, it actually came out. And the Scabbards and Yamato are like, Momo, that was great. It was a spitting image of Kaido's. And then Momo just starts launching them. Like, it looks like 2 or 3 of them he launches just back to back. And he's just like, be gone, be gone, be gone. He's just freaking out at this point. Aramaki at this point is kind of like looking a little worried. He's like, hang on, you crazy bastard, as he starts getting hit. Yamato's like, amazing, he's able to control it. And then Kawamatsu's like, yeah, but his aim leaves a little bit to be desired. Because he's acting like it's a machine gun. He's just kind of everywhere. But at this point, Aramaki's tree body is just completely burnt down. And then you see a little sapperling sprout out of the ground, and it says, what a pain, easy now. And then you see Aramaki kind of reform his body out of said sapperling. So that's a pretty handy ability. He probably just keeps part of himself underground to ensure that he can always stay alive. That's my guess. But Aramaki's like, seriously, is he trying to burn down the whole town? Because there's just fire everywhere at this point. And then he goes into an even bigger tree form. He bulks up and he goes, since you're hell-bent on playing hardball, have it your way. I'll skewer you and your wannabe Kaido routine from mouth to tail. So he just plans on sticking a root just straight through Momo. And it's at this point that we see black lightning coming from the sea outside of Wano. This transforms Aramaki right back to his regular form, just with his legs as a bunch of roots instead of his entire body just bulking up. He looks like he's in pain. He can't move, nothing. And he's like, whoa, wait, that Conqueror's Haki. Who the hell? The red hair pirates? You're here too? And then we cut over to Shanks' ship. And we hear some of the crew members. He goes, boss, don't just go all out with your Haki like that. All the newbies are foaming at the mouth. And we see Shanks, just in silhouette form, hand on Griffin and everything. He's like, I won't call you Marines cowardly or underhanded for this, but wouldn't you agree it's bad form to go after these worn out sapperlings when they're exhausted from making pirate history? And we see Aramaki with his hands up, just look of fear on his face. Then we see Shanks. Close up, his face looks angry. It looks similar to when he scared off the Sea King for Luffy after losing his arm. That's probably the best similarity to his face that you can get right there. And then we see a flashback of Luffy when he stabbed himself, gave himself the scar, Momo when he bumped his head, Hiyori and Toki as Hiyori as a baby with Toki holding her. And what a lot of people are claiming is a silhouette of Unta. It's literally just like a hand. It's barely any of arm. Looks like a pen or a sword or something on a back and a little loop. It could be her with her character design, but it also could literally be anybody. I mean, Oda likes to play with silhouettes. We still don't know who saved the Scabbards, healed them up. So, I mean, it could literally be anybody. It could be that person. Who knows? We see Shanks close up of his angry face and he says, does the New Age really frighten you that much? And Aramaki just turns around, starts walking away, hands up. He's like, I get it already. It's not like I want to pick a fight with you guys yet. Not today anyways. And Yamato, the Scabbards, and Momo. Well, the Scabbards and Yamato are celebrating. Momo's sitting there, just tears and snot rolling out of his face. We'll cut back over to the castle basement now, and then we'll go to the last page, because the last page is pretty important too. So, we see the castle basement, and we see Sukiyaki's secret room, and a floor panel just kind of busted out. And we see Robin, Sukiyaki, and Law walking down the stairs. Robin's like, you did well to sniff us out. Law's like, you make it sound like I'm a hyena. I simply noticed the two of you weren't with the rest of the others, and that naturally made me wonder if you were up to something. And as they're bickering with each other, and Sukiyaki's like, be careful where you step. The ground is covered with mold. We see Sukiyaki, and he's like, I never told Orochi or Kaido about this passage, but they were still able to find the poneglyph in no time, since they had a fishman on their crew. And he's talking about Jack. And they're both kind of confused. They're like, how would being a fishman help? Like, that'll clear up when you see it. And they're kind of like, we're underground. How would a fishman help with, underground? That doesn't make any sense. Then Law goes, well, how far does this go down? And Sukiyaki's like, let's see. It goes down, I'd say, a few 100 years of deep. And this just kind of confuses them. It's at that point that they see kind of a light coming from a side. Robin's like, where's that dim light coming from? Sukiyaki's like, yeah, there's a glass block window at the end of that crawl space. Robin's like, what does that mean? So she climbs over there to see it, and Law just uses his devil fruit powers to teleport right there. Pops right there. And Robin kind of looks at him kind of jealously. Because no fair. And then both of them look out the glass window and are shocked because what they see is Wano. Just not the Wano that they've been in. An older Wano. And it's underwater. Sukiyaki says, that is an older Wano from about 800 years ago. No, Void Century. And they're like, what do you mean? He's like, it's exactly as I said. Although, as to you, why it ended up like this, I have no idea. And Robin's like, but it's so well preserved. Does that mean this isn't really seawater? And no, it's actually freshwater. It's rainwater. So pretty much what happens, and Sukiyaki kind of goes over and explains all this. When they built the walls up around Wano, Wano was originally located at sea level with Mount Fuji behind it. Now, when they built the walls up, there was no place for the seawater to escape. So it just kept on filling, the water level kept on rising. So they ended up kind of going up to a higher level of Mount Fuji and building new Wano there. And that's where they are now, which is why on the sides where the Straw Hats got up is waterfalls. That's how you get up into Wano. Pretty much Wano as it is now is only like half, maybe quarter the size of the original Wano. And then we get another big reveal. Two more big reveals. They get down to the Lode Poneglyph. Robin she looks shocked, but not. So pretty much, she's like, it's really here. This is our third one. We just need one more to be able to travel to Laugh Tale. And Sukiyaki's like, yeah, we're in the cavern near the foot of Mount Fuji. If you continued to trek a little bit deeper, it's said that you would find the sleeping ancient weapon, Pluton. And this shocks both of them. Sukiyaki's like, yeah, I've never seen it myself, so I'm not able to show you, but that's, where it is. Retrieving Pluton would require the removal of the walls that surround the nation, and that's why opening Wano is a quite literal act. Wano would lose its greatest defense, its walls, and set loose one of the ancient weapons. So Robin's like, opening the country unleashes Pluton? Why would Kozuki Oden want that? And Sukiyaki's like, yeah, I don't know what my son was thinking. By the time I got free, he was dead. He's like, yeah, everything I told you was passed down through generations of Shogun rule. I cannot speak to what Oden may have learned by himself out at sea, but, that's what he wanted to do. That's when we cut back over to the fight, and I left out a little bit of the monologue earlier. My bad. Aramaki, before he got sent off, he said, no man can stand against the forces of nature alone. If Kaido was still in charge, I wouldn't have come here. So that kind of is like, he sees Kaido as a threat, but not everybody else. Not the people who beat Kaido. That makes sense, right? So the last page of the chapter, we see all the Straw Hats having a good time, having a festival. We see Hiyori playing her instrument, and then we see Jinbei, Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji all sitting up on a hill kind of watching what was happening with Aramaki, the Scabbards, and Momo. Luffy's like, he's gone, and starts laughing. Sanji's like, I guess we don't need to lend a hand after all. Zoro's like, check Momo out. Kind of like he's proud. Jinbei's like, indeed. And that hockey just now was really something too. Luffy's like, yeah, who was that? And then we see a close-up on Luffy's face. Big smile. And he's just like, familiar face just popped into my head. And the last panel of the chapter is, Shanks drifting out, a ship drifting out into the vast ocean. I'm hoping we get more with Shanks. It seems like maybe we'll get something next chapter of, I don't really see how much more can play out with Shanks at this point in this storyline. I mean, sure, we could see him go back to his territory and start defending it against Rooster Head Dude. That's what Luffy calls him, Lomeo. but defending against him. But you know, that's kind of a moot point. I don't think anybody is really too interested in the interaction between him and Shanks, because it could go either one of two ways. Shanks could just wipe the floor with him and not listen to anything he says, or they could end up getting along. Roosterhead could end up apologizing and being like, hey, my bad, I didn't know you were friends. It doesn't seem like a very driving point in the story. So I see it continuing on with Luffy, them leaving. It seems like this is the end of Wano. It doesn't seem like there's anything else really to do with Wano other than maybe a little bit with Zoro. And if we could get a chapter of just Zoro finishing out his whole area in Wano, going to see the sword, going to see the gravesite of Ryuma. I think that was his name. You know, that would be cool. Maybe get a little bit more on his lineage. Apart from that, it just seems like the best area forward is either Sabo, see where he's at, or leaving Wano. I mean, we could even cut over to Vivi. That could be an interesting story point, but I don't think that would take up an entire chapter. But there's no break next week. Let me know where you think the story is going at this point. Is Robin gonna try and figure out what to do with the ancient weapon? Or are they gonna get a hint on where the next Lode Poneglyph is? This story definitely seems to be coming to a little bit of a slower point. I'm definitely interested on seeing what's gonna come next. No break next week, so see you next week for chapter 1056. Bye.